Robert Plank Show, episode 104. Be a baller, be bold, and transform into your best self with Melissa Krivachek. Our guest today is Melissa Krivachek, and she has written 5 books and is a 3-time international best-selling author. She's been honored by the National Council of American Executives as the top 1% of U.S. executives in both 2015 and 2016, has been featured on the cover of Evolution magazine. All kinds of cool stuff. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rob, for having me.
So, I'm talking to you right now. I know literally nothing at all about what it is you do. So, what is it that you do?
I love helping people not only tap into their passion, but monetize it and help them realize like you can have everything you want all at the same time: love, success, happiness, money, and clients.
That's a big promise. How do you do it?
Well, you have to focus on one area at a time. So everyone comes to me for sales. The reality is they think they want sales, and they ultimately do want sales, but the thing that's holding them back is something in their personal life from keeping them moving towards the direction of whatever their goal might be. If it's more money for the new house, the new car, whatever that is. I'll give you an example. I've got a client in Canada. She had initiated a divorce with her husband. As a result, he committed suicide. So every sales decision she made was based on his approval, except he wasn't alive to give him her approval, right? Or give her his approval. And so now, after 4 months of working together, she's made well over $100,000. She sold all of his assets because she held on to them like they were going to make or break her, right? She's relaunched both of her companies and she's traveling the world. So now she doesn't have a home base, which is amazing. And so I've had clients, have all kinds of different problems in their personal life, which carries into their professional life. But the thing that they're always trying to solve is, how do we get more clients? How do we get more sales? How do we drive revenue?
So you're going after like the underlying causes, like a therapist or a life coach almost.
I'm not a therapist. I have a background in clinical psychology and years of sales, leadership, and management experience, like 16 years. So I love sales. I'm super passionate about it and sort of obsessed. But at the end of the day, like, I know every aspect of my own life that I've changed. Like, I've gone from over 300 pounds to almost 190 pounds, dropping from 57% body fat to 30%. And going from having no money, repossessed car, 50 grand in debt, 5 max out credit cards, 6 days in jail, and being homeless for 36 days to running a multi-million-dollar company over the past 7 years. All of this has transpired because you have to do it step by step, and you have to find the underlying causes of what's holding you back from attaining whatever it is that you want.
Dang, being in jail, that's pretty scary. So, how did you get from there to here? Like, what are those steps to fixing all of it?
Well, the first thing is just realize what you need to fix. So do you have a mountain of debt? Don't conquer the entire mountain at one time. Do you have, tons of weight that you need to lose? Don't try and think that you're going to go to the gym for 3 hours a day and you're going to lose the weight. Pick one area of your life, whether it's sales, health, finances, your relationships, your self-esteem, or confidence, and then just focus on that one area and put all your time, effort, energy, and resources into the area. And then move on to the next area, because every area affects the other areas. So for example, if you have a really shitty sex life, or if you have really bad relationships, it's going to affect your sales. If you have a lot of excess weight and you're not drinking water, getting sleep, or taking care of yourself, that's going to affect your sales. Like, everything affects your sales. So at the end of the day, it's like a realization of what problems am I carrying and how much baggage can I free myself from, so I can lighten the amount of work that I have to do and be as productive and as effective as possible in people's lives.
That makes a lot of sense, and I know that you're probably this way too sometimes. Like, I'll have like a down day or a down week, and I'll just be like, something's just not working, and then when I actually think about it, there was something going on, that maybe like some loose end I hadn't taken care of, or some bad relationship or friendship that I just like kind of thought I could put it off to the side or ignore, and it was affecting everything else, and I didn't even realize it.
Oh, 100%. Just like in March, I actually got rid of my best friend. We've been best friends for like 6 years. I got rid of the relationship that I had, which I had for 2 years. And as a result, then I freed myself up from all of the baggage that these guys are carrying. So, we don't oftentimes realize how much someone else's energy and how much someone else's baggage is affecting us. So if you hire people with a lot of baggage, be let it known in your organization that you're going to be the one carrying that baggage, because you took on the responsibility of hiring those people. The same is true in your personal relationships. The same is true for the people that you go to the gym with, your sex life. Everything is dependent on how many problems somebody brings to you and how much of a decision maker and problem solver you are.
Okay, and that's a really simple message, but at the same time, it's like, well, even though it's simple, I can't believe sometimes that I forget about that or I miss that. And like when I was a kid, when the Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky stuff kind of was going down. I mean that's like forever ago, but I remember there was some, I don't know, someone on the news, someone who's kind of like similar to you, like some kind of like advisor or like business booster kind of person. And I'll never forget that this person said, well, if you have this, the like you said, the baggage or the dangling thread in your life, it's I mean, not only gonna affect everything else, but the biggest thing it will affect is your creativity. And I'm thinking, I mean, I'll never forget that because I'm thinking, out of all the things, like, sometimes we have a bad attitude, but man, if that makes it so that I can't even do what I need to do in my business, like that's really scary. If like just this little, I mean, this thing that you think is just, like you said, like some kind of like vampire type of friend or someone who kind of takes advantage, you think it's something that you can manage, but it just seems like it takes over sometimes.
Well, it's not only that, it's like you look at the things around you in your life and the things on your wall and the things in your office and your own cars and such. So let me give you an example here. My best friend, like if you walked into her home, you would see like tons of stuff everywhere. Like her life was not simplified, it was overly complex. If we're going to travel together for like a week, she would bring like 5 months worth of stuff. And, she'd want to accomplish these goals, but she would never be working towards them, only sort of walking away from them because she had all this bogging herself down. But if you look at the things that are on your wall and the things that are in your office or wherever you are in the space that you are right now, you realize what you value. So you could be, valuing faith or family or friends or your business, or you could be valuing video games and alcohol and great parties on the weekend and just things that don't progress you forward. So we have to look at every single area of our life, and the simplest place to start is, just look in your closet. Do you have 100 different options, or do you have 10 different outfits that could create 100 different combinations? The same is true for your fridge. Do you have like a lot of garbage, pizza, pop, all that kind of stuff, or are you doing greens, proteins, water, and really healthy stuff? What you put in is what you're going to get out. The same is true in your business. If you're doing marketing and sales and all of the different things that go on to run a business, and you have no team and no system, it's unfortunate, but you're going to go out of business.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, yeah, and it's like if you don't have some kind of like system, routine, structure, then it might work for a while out of luck, I guess. But then eventually, that's just gonna burn you out pretty quick.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody thinks that it just takes hard work. It doesn't take hard work, because you can only work hard for so long, and then you feel like you want to die, kill somebody. Like, it just sucks.
So I mean, I'm looking around my office, and like I only have a couple of things on my wall. I only have a couple of things on my desk. So what does that say about me? Does that mean like I value simplicity, or what's the hidden
For sure, but
message?
what are those things?
Like on the desk, I just have like a phone, day planner, glass of water. That's pretty much it.
So, organization, health, and simplicity, I would say. Is that
Okay.
accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, I'm not like the most healthy person. I don't run 20 miles a day, but I think I do what's important.
Right. And so, organization is the day planner. And then the phone, obviously, is because you value not only having relationships, but I'm going to assume here sales as well, because you run a business. So, you're obligated to that.
That makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, I'm looking at like the books and the things things that you have. Like you have like your bold and helping you unleash the hero within. You have your millionaires and money, and I mean they all look pretty cool. So could you tell us about like some of your big ideas, some of the cool things you have to say?
Yeah. I'll just tell you, like, I accidentally started writing books. I actually got dumped by a rocket scientist,
Oh no.
and I poured my heart out on paper. And 5 months later, that book became an international bestseller. And I was like, oh my God, people are reading this. So by then, I already had a second, and a publisher was knocking down my door for a third. So I was like, who writes 3 books in 1 year? And the reality is, like, I've now, 2 years in a row wrote 3 books. But how do you have love, success, and happiness? How do you have clients and make money? You have to make time for all of these things. You have to figure out what you value. You have to simplify your life. You have to know your money. This is one thing in a lot of businesses that they don't know. Like, what is your cost to acquire a client? What is your overhead? How much can you spend on a client based upon how much they're worth to your business? What is your greatest liability? What's your greatest asset? How much is, the best guy that's working for you worth to your company? So I really break it down sort of step by step into just basic things that all of us can do. Read 15 minutes a day, drink a little bit more water, go for a mile long walk. These are things that all of us have heard a million times, and yet all of us ignore in one area of our life or another. And they're really costing us. They're not only costing us our money, but they're costing us time, effort, and energy. And so if we look at all of these things collectively, there are areas where we know we need to improve, and yet we fail to improve because we start consuming information at such a rapid pace that we become consumers of information and not appliers of the information. So it's not just about knowing the information or having relationships, but it's about actually going out and applying that stuff.
Like getting out of student mode, right?
Yeah, like, you don't need to be a student of life, you need to be a doer in life. You only have one life. So the only way to accomplish whatever it is that you want is to start going out and meeting the people that do what you want to do, have accomplished what you want to accomplish, have what you want to have, live the lifestyle that you want to live, and have built the business that you want to build. And then once you create those relationships, you start to have more power of influence. And so not just with these particular relationships, but you start to overtake the marketplace, and that increases your value and obviously your self-confidence. So that affects your personal relationships, it affects your money, it affects your body and the way you take care of yourself as well.
I think that's a pretty good message. So I mean, yeah, and it seems like so what you've been what you've been talking about us so far. It seems like the big thing is that everything is pretty connected. Like you said, like if your personal life's not doing well, if your sex life is not doing well, if your health isn't doing well, then it'll go and affect your business and vice versa. And it seems like I mean, I like how just simple you break all this stuff down and how it's all just pretty common sense advice that it seems like a lot of us ignore just because we've got stuck on some kind of path and we let a little bit go, and next thing you know, overweight, money's bad, and all that kind of stuff. And so, and it seems like a lot of people just are kind of scattered, I guess. Like they have a million things going on, stuck, researching stuff, having all these different commitments, having all these things hanging, and just it seems like all of us kind of need help, don't we?
We do. And the thing is, you have to close the circles as quickly as possible. So if a bill arrives at your door, you should be able to pay that bill instantaneously so it's not weighing on your mind. If an email arrives, answer the email. If the phone is ringing, answer the phone. If the texts come in, answer the text, Facebook messages. But also eliminate this stuff from your phone so that you only have certain periods of time during the day to become ultra productive. So I accomplish more in 4 90-minute periods of work time during the day than most people accomplish in the entire month. And the reality is that when I'm on the phone, I'm not answering my emails. When I'm in my emails, I'm not answering the phone. When I'm on Facebook, I'm not doing anything else. So I don't have a million windows open with a million opportunities and a million people screaming at me at the same time. I've eliminated all of the apps from my phone. So the only thing that's on my phone is the dial button, the PayPal app, and Uber. Everything else is eliminated. I don't have the calendar. I don't have a calculator. I have nothing. And the reason for that is I don't want to be distracted by all the things that people put into their lives to get them off track. And if you don't think social media or the news or just people in general are distractions, take them away and see how much more time, freedom, and money you make.
And how happier you get without even realizing, right?
For sure.
And I like that, and that's pretty extreme. And I mean, like, I know I said I have my phone here, but it's like it's face down on the desk, and I hate that when sometimes I'll get in that mode, especially at like holidays and family functions. I'll realize that I've only looked up from my phone like twice this whole evening, and I hate being that person. And so, I mean, as we're kind of winding this call down, I mean, one thing I'm really curious about is, I mean, you seem like a really like social, kind of like friendly, bubbly kind of person, and I'm not. And it's taken like a lot of just kind of small efforts and small steps to be more social. Like I'm just a nerdy like computer geek programmer kind of person. So I mean, what advice would you tell me going forward to just to be, I don't know, to be more of a network or social relationship kind of person?
Well, you don't need to be. That's the thing. You thrive in environments where you don't have to be social. So you use other tools that give you that social interaction, but aren't face to face or over the phone, right? I mean, you use social media, you use probably ads of some sort or systems.
Okay,
Is
and I do, yeah. So I guess there isn't anything wrong with me, right?
No.
Okay.
So there's two different types of entrepreneurial personality types. There's the introvert and the extrovert. The introvert is always looking for ways to become an extrovert, and the extrovert is always looking for ways to become an introvert because they think they need to have a balance. But in the entrepreneurial personality type, we become very sensitive to everything around us, including the awareness that you just pointed out with, I want to become this and I think something is wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just how you are and how you operate and how you function, and that gives you peak performance. And if you want to change that, it's because you want to change. It's not because you have to change, because you don't have to.
So I should use my strengths as strengths and not try to be a person other than who I am, I guess.
Oh, 100%. I just gave somebody that information the other day. So they have their girlfriend flying in, and I was like, hey, listen, I totally understand, but I really don't think this is going to work based on how I see you interacting. And I know that you're going to end up breaking up with this person, and it's unfortunate. However, you're trying to be two different people. You're trying to be the crazy guy that loves going out, loves drinking, loves just having a great time. And then you're trying to be this like amazing boyfriend that's totally committed, which you're not, and just, very restrictive. And as creative types, as entrepreneurial personality types, we can't really um, play these different roles and feel good about ourselves at the same time.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. So be yourself, don't fight it.
Oh, 100%.
Well, cool. Well, as we're winding this down, I mean, what would you say is the number one mistake you're seeing people make in business with their personality, with their daily habits, and all that stuff?
The number one mistake people make is thinking that they can't do it. Like they're not good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, educated enough. They don't have enough money, resources, time, talent, effort, energy, all of that. And they do, they're just not creative enough. So you will always have enough. It's, as Tony Robbins says, it's not about what resources you have, it's about how resourceful you become. When I started, I had nothing. I mean, 7 years later, I have, an amazing amount of things that I've been blessed with, but only because I never gave up and only because no one told me I couldn't do it. Because even if they did, I went ahead and did it anyway.
Right. I mean, yeah, and there was some. I mean, you bring up Tony Robbins. Like, I saw some video like the other day about that, about like overcoming the fear, and his message was something like, "Well, you don't have to wait for the fear to be gone to take some action. You can. I mean, they can be independent of one another, I guess."
Yes, indeed. Like, fear is always going to be there. The greatest people in the world have just walked through the fear. There's a quote that says, if you're going through hell, go as fast as possible.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love that. So I wanna I like your message. I like what you have to say. I want everyone to know more about you. So where can they find out about everything that it is you do?
Well, You can find me at melissakrivachek.com, and I'm sure you'll spell that out, Rob, but it's MELISSAKRIVACHEK.com.
Awesome. You got to get one of those URL shorteners, probably. Like melis.sa or something, if that exists.
I have no idea. I used to call my company something else, and then people thought I had two brands. One was a consulting brand, and one was like just books. And so after 5 years, I changed the name of my business to my actual name because there was no confusion then.
Right?
And
And
interesting, like people know who I am. I just walked into the Maserati dealer the other day, and the girl knew exactly who I was. And funny enough, there was a billionaire behind me who paid $574,000 in cash for two Bentleys right off the showroom floor. Nobody knew who he was. Like, not even I knew who he was because he came in jeans and flip flops, and I was wearing the same thing, but they knew who I was. And I was like, well, how the hell did this happen?
so I mean, and that kind of comes full circle there about being congruent with yourself, and like how some of us try to have a persona that doesn't fit or try to have the dual lives. And I mean, as soon as you make things simple, strip away the stuff that's not working, it kind of magic things happen, it seems like. So cool. So melissakrivachek.com, and we'll add that to the show notes. So go ahead right now, and thanks, Melissa, for being on the show.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks, Rob, for having me.
Anytime.